I recently spent a night in Dalton, Georgia, and it was probably the least Home2-ish Home2 I've ever stayed in. I already had that feeling before I even got out of the car, because as I pulled into the parking lot, something immediately felt off. This hotel only has 2 floors, and it might not even sound like a big deal, but if you've stayed at a few Home2 Suites before, you'll know that's very unusual. Most of them follow a very consistent blueprint, typically 3 to 5 stories, very standardized, very predictable. But this one only has 2, and there's a good reason for that. After some research I found out this is actually one of the relatively rare Home2 conversion hotels. It used to be a Holiday Inn Express, and while the interiors were of course fully updated, which is quite normal, there were also some pretty significant structural changes made, which is not usually the case with conversion hotels. And you can really feel that this is a conversion and not a blueprint Home2. The lobby, for example. Instead of the usual simple and minimalistic Home2 design, this one feels a bit more expressive. You've got high ceilings, a large open space, and you can even see the upper floor hallway from down in the lobby, something I've never seen at any other Home2. And I found more and more of those details that made me feel like I'm not in a real Home2. Not necessarily in a bad way, it just felt different. My room was all the way at the end of the hallway on the ground floor. And on my way there, I noticed just how long this hallway was. Not a bad thing, just another reminder that this building wasn't originally designed as a Home2. Now, once you step into the room, things start to feel a lot more familiar. At first glance, this is a classic Home2. You've got the full kitchenette with a microwave, fridge and dishes, the long countertop running across the room and the movable desk underneath, the open closet with a curtain, and of course the signature sofa area that can be separated with another curtain. But if you take a closer look at this curtain, you'll find the conversion DNA again. It has this small chain extension attached at the top. And my guess is that they basically had to lower it so it would actually reach closer to the floor. And that's such a small detail, but it perfectly shows what's going on here. Home2 furniture and layouts are highly standardized, because they're usually built from scratch following a strict blueprint. But in this case, the original building had slightly different dimensions, probably higher ceilings, so they had to improvise. And it was right at that moment I realized I probably stay at too many hotels. Because I got genuinely, really genuinely excited to find those details and deviations. It kinda felt like this Home2 existed in a parallel universe. If you've ever played Pokemon, you'll understand the feeling of finding a shiny Pokemon. And that's exactly what I felt while exploring the details of this hotel. Anyway, the next morning brought me back to something very familiar. The Home2 breakfast, and this was really brand classic. Toast, waffles, cereal, the usual lineup you'll find across the brand anywhere in the US. But special credit for using real plates and utensils, because if you've stayed at enough Home2s, you'll know that many locations rely heavily on paper plates and plastic utensils, so this was really nice. Overall, it was a really fun stay. Because on the one hand, you get the full Home2 experience, everything you expect from the brand is there, but on the other hand, it feels just different enough to make it memorable, at least if you're nerdy enough about the brands. Thanks for watching, I hope you enjoyed this video, and maybe you even felt some of the excitement I felt about this special Home2 hotel. Probably not, but that's totally fine. If you want to see a real Home2 or more standardized Home2, click the video on the left, or the video on the right for an explanation about the Home2 brand in general.